what I do for a living. It was so actually validating and put it in perspective that what we do as theater artists is important.
Right.
In ways that we don't even know sometimes.
Right.
Like, you know, we get the immediate effect of an audience. We get to immediately reach you, especially in a show like this where there is no fourth wall, where we circle together.
Right.
That, like, you know, we see the reactions, we can talk to you and make sure you're having a good time. But, like, a show, the memory of a show, I know it's true for me, lives on past that. Once you, like, leave the theater, you're still thinking about the show and how the themes of those shows still affect you and move you and inspire you and teach you things about yourself and the world around you. And I was like, oh, right, well, that's why I do what I do. Like, and actually, so thank you for the note and taking the time to do that.
Absolutely. So tonight's talk back is dedicated to Robert John.
Robert, thank you.
Thank you. So Telly.
Yeah.
Guess what, guys? He smells really good.
I was like, it was a really hot, I don't know if you guys were warm. Were you guys warm?
Yeah. Yes.
But we were warm. I think it's because the warm weather outside and, you know, the climate control in it. But I was like, oh, I have to shower before I get out here because I cannot subject Julie. I cannot subject Julie to a terrible...
She smells really fresh.
I tried.
Telly, born and raised right here in New York.
Yeah, Brooklyn, New York. But favorites? Any favorites?
Wow!
My parents still in Bay Ridge. They're like right around the corner from the Alpine Theater. Yeah, well, it's interesting. I actually grew up in a very traditional Chinese home. Both my parents were immigrants from China and then Hong Kong and then the United States. And like a lot of very traditional Chinese parents, they were very adamant on me concentrating on scholastics. Acting and show business was the last thing they did for me, as you can imagine. And so they would always be like, Telly, you study hard, you know, and you go through Stuyvesant High School, which I did. I went to Stuyvesant High School in the city. But imagine Stuyvesant High School, it's insane. Like, you know, it's like Westinghouse winners and like astrophysicists. I don't know how I ended up there. But like, but I was a good student. And so I studied hard. My dad was always like, go to Stuyvesant, go to Harvard, be a doctor. Like, that was kind of his plan. And in that plan, like even as a little kid, I was kind of, you know, told that you can practice piano, you can do homework, and you cannot watch TV, but you can watch PBS. Because it was educational. Well, little did they know that Great Performances was on PBS. And that even though I lived in Brooklyn and I was only an hour away from all the Broadway theaters and all of that, like the first Broadway show I ever saw was the Great Performances televised Into the Woods. I know. Have you guys seen it? Thank God for those. Like, you know what I mean? Like, otherwise I would have never, and like somehow at like 8, like Sondheim spoke to me through and it inspired me to do this, you know, somehow. I don't know how, but even like subversively, like even around behind my parents' back, I fell in love with Broadway in a way. So.
I love it. That's amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna skip ahead because I know we don't have all the time in the world. What Broadway debut?
Oh, my Broadway debut was Flower Drum Song, the revival of Flower Drum Song on Broadway, starring Leung and Jose Lana, who, you know, they're like big brothers and big sisters to me. I covered Jose in the show. I was dancing in the ensemble, you know, the third dancer from the third box I picked, right, is what I would always say. And then I was understudying Jose. Never went on. We ran 4 months, and he is solid as a rock. He's never out. Yeah. I'm sure the folks that did some of these theater would say that too. Jose was like barely ever out. Never. But he stopped. So like I never went on. So it was totally cool. And then but the both of them have remained family to me, and they've kind of been big brothers and sisters to me. And I got that job because I was at Carnegie Mellon University studying theater. And when I was at Carnegie, Billy Porter, who's also a Broadway actor, movie actor, came back to direct my senior musical, which was Company. And so his first Broadway show, when he was a student, was Miss Saigon. And he had actually graduated already knowing he was going to be heading into Miss Saigon in the fall, the original Broadway cast of Miss Saigon. So he knew all the Broadway Asians. He knew all. He did. It's a very small community of us. And we all know each other. And were all very tight. So, but he was, because he was in Saigon, he was honorary Asian. So he called Mark Oka, who was the dance captain of Flower Drum Song, and also the original dance captain of Miss Saigon, who was in the original cast, and said, "Hey, I have this Asian kid. His name is Telly Leung. I know Flower Drum Song is coming from LA to Broadway. He's perfect. He has no agent. He has no anything. Can he be seen?" They're like, "Yes. The dance call is in whatever, 2 days." Billy goes, "Well, he's teching my show, but I will let him go after tech." And the school let me miss the next day's classes. So I did tech as Bobby in company, jumped on a Greyhound bus, took the Greyhound at like 12:30, like stopped in Harrisburg to refuel, got to New York at like 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, I was in dance clothes and like at my first Broadway dance audition ever. And then I danced, and then they needed an understudy for Jose's role, for Bob Todd. So they had seen, they were like, "Well, you're doing company right now in college, right?" And I was like, "Yes." They're like, "Sing Being Alive." I was like, "Oh, good. I just did this 12 hours ago back in Pittsburgh." So that's how that whole job ended up happening.
Wow.
Billy Porter, I told Billy too. I did. I was like, I know, really. And so just like Billy, I knew I had a job graduating college.
Wow. That's incredible.
Never happened, and thank God it happened, or I think my parents would have made me go to med school anyway. They probably actually would have forced me to, like, okay, well, you didn't get a job in 6 months. Like,
yeah.
You're not a Broadway.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me, Leung was going to be a biophysicist, and ended up being a Telly winner instead.
Of course, yeah.
And Anna Marie is big, Leung's like a big sister.
Big sister of her too, yeah.
Yeah.
But they have Philippine connections. Anna Maria's grandmother was a Sylvia Torrey, a famous singer in the Philippines, and so they're like music royalty. Leah and Sylvia are music royalty in the Philippines, and so that they know each other from there.
Yeah. Well, you go back a long way with Godspell.
I did.
You did what was sort of the germ of this production, which was at the Paper Mill Playhouse in New Jersey.
Yeah, it was kind of a wonderful gem of an experience. When we were doing Paper Mill, it was 4 weeks of rehearsal, and we rehearsed it like this. I mean, we rehearsed it completely improv-based, throwing the old 1971 script away and kind of finding our own way to tell the parables. We did it in a very short amount of time. It was 3 weeks of rehearsals and like a week of text. And we didn't fuss with the arrangements too much. We kept the arrangements pretty much the same. But we did this, and then we had a 4-week run in Jersey at the Paper Mill. And actually, our director's parents are here too. I thought I saw the Goldsteins are here. Our director's coming back.
My mom and my aunt are here.
So there's actually three people, well, 4 if you count David Corn, our set designer, but that remain from that Paper Mill process. And Miranda, our costume designer, is 5. Now the list is growing. But Daniel, our director, David Corn, Miranda, our costume designer, and Uzo and I were the only 2 actors from that production. And we thought nothing of it, actually. And then Stephen Schwartz came and saw our production of Godspell one night and fell in love with it and was like, that's how the revival should be done, from scratch, from actors creating it on their own, finding their own individual way of telling this feels right. And so, and he felt that Danny's vision of it and Danny's approach towards the show was the right approach to doing a revival. So then the wheels started kind of turning.
Yeah, and turn they did. It took a while.
Oh.
It was actually supposed to happen in, what was that,
2008.
2008, this was supposed to be happening, but as all good hits, it wasn't to be rushed, and I think now is really the right time. Don't you feel it? Don't you feel it in the room right now?
The Paper Mill was a traditional proscenium stage, and over 2,000 seats. It's huge. It feels like a barn. So there is no seeing you in the audience, and you know what I mean? Like there isn't this close interaction. I mean, the farthest seats, I told you in the last show, we're only 50 feet away from one another, actually. Like, that's the farthest seat, and so that kind of intimacy was lost at the Paper Mill. And when we were going to move it in 2008, it was going to be at the Barrymore. Again, a proscenium house, more intimate than the Paper Mill, but still not really. It didn't allow us to run up and down the aisles and say hi to you and shake your hand and drag you up on stage. It just didn't.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, it was heartbreaking because it was 6 days before rehearsal that they told us it was shut down. You know, there was the weekend before, there was a full-page ad in the New York Times advertising Godspell. Our marquee was up. I had a fitting the day I found out. I was trying on my costume. You know, it was everybody was cast, contracts were signed, and you know, 6 days before everybody had given notice at their other jobs. That was kind of heartbreaking. At the height of the economic crisis, when everybody was looking for jobs in 2008, we said, "Peace out for other jobs." And then, I thought I had a job, but 6 days before they canceled the show. You know, but that's showbiz.
Yeah.
But I think everything has all for the best, as the song says, because I think this is actually the right. This is right. This feels right.
This is right. This is definitely right. We're going to get to some questions in a minute, but I know that it's a burning question on everyone's mind. Everyone wants to know how does Glee happen? What's it all about, Glee?
Yeah.
I love the Warblers. Let me just say it.
Glee was so fun, and a lot of ways like Godspell, like unexpected, kind of how far that went. I sent a tape from New York. Actually, I sent a tape reading for Blake, which is Darren Chris's role. So I sent a tape reading for that role, and I got a phone call back, and they were like, well, we love your tape. We're casting this other dude. His name is Darren Chris. He's gonna get the role. But they're like, but we love you. So she's always flanked by these friends. So why don't you come and do this with us? It's gonna be 2 episodes tops, and then we're gonna be done. You know, and I was like, sure, why not? Glee is a big phenomenon. I can tell my grandkids one day that I'm like, right. And then what ended up happening was Darren did that performance of Teenage Dream with all of us, and then I think that episode really moved people. I think the idea of a teenage gay relationship that was being portrayed in that way, in such a realistic way, was really interesting and very current and very. It just spoke to, it literally reached out of the television and spoke to kids of what was going on, and also that song, and Katy Perry fell in love with that song, and it kind of blew up.
Right.
Like, nobody expected that.
Yeah.
So then the writers, we saw that they were like, oh, we have to write them in more. You know, as in they were like, you're not working the Super Bowl episode. They were like, yes, you are. We're going to work it in somehow that you guys are in this episode. Which is sometimes the writing you feel like, that's why, because what they do brilliantly is they respond to you guys. They're so on top of kind of like what's being tweeted, what's being Facebooked, what are the chat boards talking about. Like they're creating this show for the fans. So the fans are like, we want more work, we want these boys back. And they were like, great, let's just keep writing for them.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy putting it together so fast, like having to do.
It is.
I mean, normally most regular TV shows that you see without singing and dancing have about a week to shoot-ish. But you guys are doing that same, you know, all the acting, plus the singing, the dancing, and the recording of the numbers. Well,
the thing is with the Warblers, actually, we never recorded the numbers. This is one of the big things that nobody really knows. So I have to give credit where credit's due, because the Warblers, who are acting, the ones you see on camera, are actually actors hired from LA. Right, so we're under acting contract. It's a whole showbiz different contractual thing. So we're under actors contract, not our voices. The arrangements and the voices are actually the Tufts University Beelzebubs, which is amazing. They are unbelievable. Their arrangements, their voices, all of their stuff. So what happened is we're actors, and we actually get our music and our parts from the Bubs, who've already recorded it in Boston, sent the tape to LA. We're there listening, going, okay, we're the actors hired out of LA, to then go, okay, so the tenor part is who, got it, okay. So actually, like on Twitter and stuff, when we talk to the Bubs, we're always like, we are the work.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, the both of us combined is kind of because those guys aren't actors,
right.
but they write these incredible arrangements for these songs, and so we're actors, but we're not singing on the track, you know, so.
Can I just side note even deal with how much energy he has right now? Like after doing that show, just off the charts amounts of energy, and I love your energy. Thank you for giving it.
Oh, of course.
Gosh. Who has a great question for Telly? Yes.
Yes. Oh, you know, that is a good question. And, you know what? I think there was an episode where there was like a French teacher or something. Wasn't there like one? Yeah, I think that's enough. There was one.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I bet you somebody wrote on a chat where like, don't they have teachers?
Right. And they were like, oh.
They were like, yes, now they do.
Yeah. I know. The suspension of disbelief is what it's all about in the theater.
It's a musical.
I saw yes. What was it like being directed by Neil Patrick Harris?
Oh,
Ooh,
yes.
He did Brent at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
I like to call him Neil Patrick Hotness.
Yeah. Neil, it's so funny, they said they were doing Brent at the Hollywood Bowl. Now, the Hollywood Bowl is 17,000 people. And in order to fill 17,000 people a weekend, you kind of have to fill it with a couple of celebrities. So you had to have a couple of names attached to do the show to sell the tickets, right? So they knew they wanted Vanessa Hudgens to play Amy. They wanted Wayne Brady to play Collins. They wanted Nicole Scherzinger from the Pussycat Dolls to play Maureen. But Neil, who is Brent's family, he actually premiered Brent as Mark in LA. He said, this is a beast of a show, and I have to put it together in 10 days. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to hire alums from Brent's past to come and actually help. So then all of the show is, the principals anyway, are broken down into couples, so it's like Roger and Mimi, Angel and Colin. So they said, well, if I have a celeb on one side, we're going to introduce these celebrities into the Rent family, and then have Rent alums that really know the show very well help them through the show. Which
we call them ringers.
Yeah, but because I'm not going to, I don't know if anybody's going to the Hollywood Bowl to see me, but they will go and see Wayne Brady. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of show business. It was a good balance that way. But what ended up happening was we welcomed. They were amazing. I mean, they threw those guys that we were like, oh, but they're going to be Hollywood celebrities, yada yada yada. Actually, it was the opposite. They threw themselves into their roles. They came and did all the Larson family, who I love. I kind of love like my own family. They always have these things that they have like get-togethers and what they call peasant feasts and things like that to welcome a new cast. We did that. They came. They participated. They watched old videos of Jonathan. They wanted to learn what it was like. And they had to cram this in 10 days, and they threw themselves in, and we were like, you're in the family now. You're in now.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? They were so phenomenal. But Neil was so smart because he knew he only had 10 days, and he knew that he had to have people kind of pass it on to others that knew the show, which is why I was blessed. I got lucky that he passed the show that way.
That is really special.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Yes.
So you said that there's a lot of improv involved in this show.
Yeah.
And so were you involved in improv before, or was this something completely new to you, and is it kind of scary to...
I dabbled in improv. I think when you go to school, when you go to college for acting, like you do improv that helps you with your acting anyway, but I was definitely not like a Break Business Brigade or a Groundlings person or anything like that, but I dabbled in it a little bit. My friend and I, who's seen Priscilla? My friend Jay Elaine Marcos, who I did Flower Dome Song with, she's the Filipino wife. She does the song. She is actually she's one of the most brilliant improv actors I've ever met in my life. And her and I did this thing for a little while when we were like kind of working in New York and not so busy. We did this thing called 8-Bar Cut, and we would like pay to do shows, but it was improv musical. So actually, because we were both music theater people, and she was kind of my flower drum sister, we knew each other. So we said, let's go do this thing. So we do like the back of bars in like the East Village. We paid to do the gig. Like we had to drag two friends to, but we hired a pianist that was an improv pianist, and like, and we'd go, hi, we are 8-Bar Cut. Please give us a topic. And they'd be like, Walgreens. They're like, great. So we create a whole musical on the spot, like just watching each other, writing lyrics and everything with our improv pianist, like. We dabbled in it, but we tried to dabble in it in like as far away as we could. But I think it's just really like improv. The thing about improv is just work off your person. Like they're giving you something, just say yes to it.
Oh, that's so good. Tina Fey says that.
Just say yes. Just say yes.
Right. Just go.
Just go with it, and then you have no idea where it ends up, but it could end up someplace brilliant.
There's a hand way up there that I admire that I want to get to, right?
In the booth, yeah.
What's your favorite show that you played in?
Oh,
That's tough.
it's a hard question. I think it's a tie. I think it's Rent, just because I was 16 when I saw that show on Broadway, and I slept with the bums on 41st Street, got my first row ticket as a lotto, or whatever it is. But at the time, it was the hottest ticket. It was that original cast in 1996. Like, it was a hot ticket. So, like, I slept with the homeless people on 41st Street, when 41st Street was not safe back then. and then, like, fast forward exactly 10 years, and I'm like standing on the line singing Pieces of Love, looking at the theater where I sat. the first time I saw the show, like that was crazy. But then I did a revival of a show called Pacific Overtures, which was at Studio 54, and that was that.
Sondheim paid off.
I mean, I was like, come on, like having Sondheim in a room was insane. So like that actually remains still like I was like Stephen Sondheim in the room and like giving me notes.
Yeah.
When you're around that kind of genius, I'm speechless.
You can tell that's really something. Okay, a couple quick things before we have to wrap up pretty quickly here tonight, but a couple of quick things. If you love Godspell, like I can feel that you do. Hey. I got all choked up over it.
I know my coconut water.
It's okay. If you love Godspell, I don't know what just happened. I can tell that you love Godspell. Here it comes. As much as I did, and we want Godspell to stick around forever, don't we? So tell your friends, tell your family, tweet about it, Facebook about it, spread the word. Your passion for it is more powerful than any bit of marketing or an ad on a bus or anything that anybody could do. So I want to keep the love going. So just do that community thing. I love it. That's treatment. I love it. Thank you, Jeremy. So tell your friends. So Telly is at Telly Leung on Twitter. Very easy. I'm Julie_James. Let's all connect. I know we're both on Facebook, I'm sure, right? Do you have like a girl, or is it just search your name?
Oh yeah, just search. It says Telly the Entertainer. It's me wearing a blue shirt.
Mine is facebook.com/fans of Julie James. And Godspell, just search Godspell, very easy. They have a great interactive website. It's a lot of fun to watch everybody dancing around. I had to plant a tree today or something, so, go on the Godspell.com website, and let's all just be part of keeping this community and keeping the message of Godspell going. And I will take one last brief.
Wait, before we do that, I promised somebody at intermission to wish a happy birthday. Where is somebody's birthday? It's somebody's birthday. Oh, they maybe they left. But it was some. No,
that was last Tuesday.
Oh, I think he left. This gentleman wanted me to wish his wife a happy birthday.
Aww.
But happy birthday.
Where is he?
Okay, one more question. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Besides Godspell or Rent, what would your dream show be left to do?
Oh, great question. And actually, my dream is actually to do an original show on Broadway, like create something from scratch. And actually, this summer I'm going to get to do that. The next show I'm doing is a show called Allegiance. It's a musical that is loosely based on. Do you guys know George Takei, who was in Star Trek? He was just on Celebrity Apprentice. Japanese American, huge advocate for equality because as a kid, as a Japanese American child, he grew up during the Japanese internment. After Pearl Harbor, they actually interned the whole entire Japanese population of the West Coast and put them in internment camps in the Midwest. They were worried that they were spies, or they was worried that they would be connected.
There wasn't a legion.
Yes.
But there was not a legion.
Right. So the musical is loosely based on George's childhood and his life in the camp. When he's in it, and then when he looks back in time, it's me, young him in the camp. And Leia's in it as well, playing sort of my sister figure. And we're going to do our out-of-town at the Old Globe Theater in San Diego this fall. So that I'm getting to do kind of the dream thing to do next. And I've been workshopping the show and developing the show for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's like to see that show happen and to see something that I've done from scratch all the way to a Broadway stage would be, I don't care if we run one day, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm a friend of Telly. I saw, and I go to a lot of workshops and stuff. I've never been to a workshop like Allegiance where the audience cried and stood up reading great.
Wow.
Thank you.
And you're brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Oh, God.
You got that out there. I wanted to ask you about it, and that was the perfect way, because doing
that's my dream.
Doing an original show on Broadway is going, and the eyes are definitely on Broadway. That's the there's no guarantees, but the expectation is, that Allegiance will hopefully head to Broadway after their time on the West Coast.
Come on, way up George. Like,
Come on.
I buy tickets. I'm in.
This is by far our most well-attended Talk Back Tuesday, so I thank each and every one of you for being here.
Good job.